All right, this is Bain. So we're going to go over our a new extension. It's called the Stronghold extension. I'm going to turn that debug off. So let me expand this a little bit. This is in the old school essentials rule set right now. It does work with 5e. It also works with any of the Pathfinder rule sets. It works with 2e, with one little caveat under the how the vault works because of how he overrode the item manager scripts. But you could find on the sidebar, you can find this tab called Dominions, and then you'll have Stronghold records in here. And as you can see, I create a new Stronghold record. It's basically an empty image record with all the stuff on there. Here's one I already created, Dervin's Tower. So, but I can show you real quick on this one. Just go through the tabs. Well, first thing, let's look at options. So under options, there's a one option to select. It's using the Stronghold Builder's Guide 3.0. Published a book, and in there they use a modular type spacing. So it's called SS, stands for space sizes. And so if you are building a keep, it maybe has 40 space sizes, and then you can modularly take the different rooms and whatever and fit them in there and know how much space you have. So I'm going to have that off right now. So I designed this basically around being able to use the 3.0 version. There's a 2e version that's the DMGR2 Castle Guide, and there's also Rules Cyclopedia. So you could really kind of use all three. I don't really know if there's one for 5e, maybe whatever's in the DMG, but it should be able to utilize with almost any of those, okay, and especially in any kind of homebrew setting. So first off, let's look at our image here. So there is an image record integrated into this panel. If I hit this little button, it's going to expand it for everybody. So we're going to use this to create our Stronghold. And you could do a couple different things. You can actually go over here to Assets, and you can see if I have a campaign asset. I don't, but you could grab a image asset and just throw it in there. The other thing you could do is you could grab, if you own any of the Fantasy Grounds assets, let's see if I can pop them up. You could just grab those, and they really need to work on this interface, by the way. We can add a grass background in there, and then we could grab a brush, maybe. And let's move this to the side. We're gonna just do a little brush. We're gonna do FG Dungeon. We'll take the stone wall brush, and we could even come in here and we could just build some walls. Now obviously if I had a floor, I don't have a floor selected, but you get the idea, right? And then you could use the map image tools for in Fantasy Grounds to do this. Once you get your Stronghold map completed, I added this little drop link here. You can actually take this, if we name it, let's say New Stronghold. And I added this drop link here to create a battle map. Now, I did this just to make it easier for everybody. You could technically use this image on here to create a battle map. And I mean, use it like you could drag tokens onto it. You could set up encounter records onto it. It works just like an image. The problem I ran into that might be a little confusing for some people is it'll create like this client version instance, which is somehow integrated into the image that's scripting. I don't think I can override it, but really to override it, it kind of would mess up like how images and they interact with tokens and character sheets, so I didn't want to touch it. So you could use it. All you would have to do is minimize that, the client side, the players would have to minimize that image window that came up and just continue to play on the Stronghold screen. But that might be too much for some people, and so to do that, if I go over here and I just go to categorized, I go to drag it on there, you could see, I'm looking for new stronghold, copy. It copies it, okay? And then you can set up your defenses and everything on this map once your stronghold's built. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So anyways, all right, so let's say we have our stronghold built. So we're going to go back to this and leave it like that. The next thing we could do is we could talk about followers. So this is going to be NPC type records. And so we're going to go to uncategorize. So this group actually had a stronghold. We built it in game, which is kind of the reason why I oh, this is not my 2E game. Never mind. We did it in our 2E game, and this is really the reason why I came up with this, just to make it easier. So let's say I have Brems working for us, who happens to be dead apparently, and then I have Gareth. I don't even know who he is. Some dude I made up, and then here's another guy. All right, so Glithrel. All right, so these are my hirelings. Maybe Brem is my I don't know. Brem is probably like a fighter or something. Okay, so what's cool is you could set their pay, their monthly pay, right? And then you could, how many of them you have, obviously one. Maybe I have like some berserkers or bandits. I don't know. Let's see. We're going to go to the player's tome. No, we want to go to the referee's tome. Let's do some bandits. We hired some highwaymen. We hired, they're at 20 gold or 10 gold a month, and we hired like 5 of them. All right. And so, you know, these are our followers. And so what that does is we have this little income tab here, which I'm here. It shows our follower payroll. And right now we have a negative income. All right, so that's how followers work. We'll get into this in a second. Let's go back to details. I don't know why this does this. It's annoying. All right, so construction details. So how this works is, let's say we have our stronghold, and you know, we could actually use our measurement tools. Let's say this is our wall. I say, okay, this is a 145-foot wall, and so we know total we're going to have 600 feet of walls, and maybe we have a small stone tower in there. So what we could do is we could go into our modules. And what you do is, and I'm going to make an included module with this, is you could build out your pieces, parts of your stronghold. So in this instance, I built up a barbican, and I put a little description here of what it is. I could actually have the size. I could put the size description in there. If I'm using the 3.0 rules, then all you would do is you would put the number of space sizes. So like, let's say this took 10 space sizes. Right, that would be the 3.0 rules. If you're not using the 3.0 rules, maybe you are using the rule cyclopedia rules, it actually gives, you know, it's 40 by 20 and, you know, I don't know, 500 square feet, right? Okay, so and then you can put whatever type and subtype you want on there. All right, so there is a time, there's a man week. I need to fix that. It should be man-week. That's given in you know, DMR. I think Castle Guide has a build time, and so does the Rules Cyclopedia. The Castle Guide talks about build time too. You may have to do a little math on that one. There is a cost in gold pieces associated with it. And then I put this tech level in there. Some of the variations use tech level, some don't. You cannot use it in this. It's optional, and I'll show you how you would just ignore that. But tech level is kind of like your how like if you're Neanderthal tech, like you go into a Neanderthal village and you're building your domain, it might be tech level 1, but if you're in, you know, the Principality of Galantry, maybe your tech level's 8 or something, okay? And then each structure has a minimum tech level for it. And so if you're trying to build something that's technologically more advanced than the local workforce can deal with, there might be cost modifiers with that. So that's how that works. Okay, so long story short, you take this and you just drag it, okay? All right, so nice. So now we have one barbican. It's got a 665 base. The total number of weeks is infinity because I need at least one worker. Okay, and then there's my base price and then my total price, and then we'll put a max tech level equal to the barbican. Now You'll notice that these values are lower or adjusted. The totals are different than the base, and that comes in from the construction details tab. So if I go to my other tab here, I have this construction details tab. So these are price multipliers. Each reference manual has these basically same multipliers. They just deal with them differently. So setting to a 1, basically there's no change. It's no pluses, no minus. If you had a 10% terrain penalty, it would be 1.1 or 1.1, right? Likewise, if you had a resource bonus, maybe it's 20% resource bonus, that's 0.8, okay? And as you do that, you can see this total multiplier changes, okay? And you can do that for each one of those. Each reference manual kind of goes through it, or you can homebrew your own, right? But if you want to ignore it, you just leave them all 1. So then we go down to tech multipliers, and so what this is going to set the percentage change for each difference in tech level, right? So here's where you enter your settlement tech. So in this case, it's a 10, and my highest tech level required to build is a 4, so there is no penalty. However, if this were a 2, now I have a 20% penalty because the Barbican is a tech level 4, and now it's a 1.2 final multiplier. And you can see how it changed it. It actually went up. And it's a 4, so it's back down to a 1. Okay, so then there's an overhead block here. So if you had to hire an engineer, or if you had to hire some special person to come in and do work, you know, depending on the reference manual, they deal with it differently. That's where the overhead number comes in. Okay, so it's default set to 10%. But again, you could set it to whatever you want. And you can see it changes. Okay. All right. So finally, it's finishes. Now, if you want to use the 3.0 method and do your module building like that, what you would do is just stand this to standard. Standard is going to basically give you a 1 here. There are a couple others. There's a Spartan, which is a 25% discount, or you could do ornate, which is a 25% cost increase. So there's either way you could take it, right? And so once these are all set, you can come back here and you can see now our build time, because we're building this ornate structure, is now 2,000 man weeks, and or 2,000 weeks, excuse me, and our base price went up to 34,606. You know, I increase the number of workers, and I can get this thing built in 81 weeks. That's still too long. 58, that's a year. That works, right? So that's just one Barbican, right? And again, that's totally based upon these multipliers here. If they were really high morale, okay, now we're building it in half the time. So you know, it totally can go either way. So you just have to mess with it. So again, I could change it to 2 Barbicans, and you know, if I want to have 2, or I can drag modules for towers, or drag modules for moats, or drag modules for walls. You know, I could even go create one and say, okay, we're going to say it's walls, and they're going to be there's 1,000. It's a wooden. We're going to use a wooden stockade. There's going to be 1,000, and there's 4. And then I can just describe what it is here. It's a castle defense. And it's a wall, and the wooden wall is going to take 1 man, let's say 15 weeks, okay? Tech level is going to be 2, and we could say, you know, a wooden wall 150 feet in length and 8 feet high, right? So that's how I came up with that. And I can, let's say I needed 4.5. I can even do fractions, right? You just kind of do it on the fly, raise it to the closest. If I do turn this on, then I can turn the stronghold spaces on. So I'm going to set my stronghold to a max here of, let's say it's 50. The reason, let's see what's going on. And then what we want to do is we want to say this is a 10 stronghold space, or we could say it's a 15, and you can see. So if you try to use like Rule Cyclopedia values in here and then you switch to stronghold space, it's not going to work. So you kind of got to choose the way before. But then you can track how many size spaces or space sizes remain. All right, so that's how that works. All right, so we're going to go to our income tab here. First, let's go back to others. So there is another input down here. It's the monthly income generated per resource unit. So if you have a domain that's 24 hexes, maybe you have, and depending on where it's located, perhaps you have a gem mine or a semi-precious stone mine or a gold mine. You can, as the DM, set these values. So we're going to say we're going to do 3 gold per resource unit of resource, and then maybe 1 for a crop and maybe 2 for animals, or maybe this is 6 gold. I don't know. So you get to set it on your own using the reference manual, right? And then over here is where we say how many we have. So in this case, let's say I have 2 mineral resources, okay, and 1 crop and 2 animal, and so it's going to generate 16 gold pieces per month. All right. And again, I have a negative 208 now because it's doing the math for me. All right, so let's say I have 24 hexes and I can have, let's say I have 400 families living there. These are the people that are doing my work. All right, so I can tax my families per household 1 gold per month. Maybe it's 12 gold per year. Maybe it could even be a fraction. So maybe it's a half a gold per month, right? Or 50 silver. Okay, and I'm going to generate an annual income from that. If I'm a really big lord or lady, maybe I have vassal income, I can put that in there, and this is all monthly, and so now I got a net positive cash flow here. And this is just, I can write 24 hexes, okay, or whatever my domain is. You can actually, I don't think, it's not multi-line, so 24 hexes, so we'll leave it at that. Oh yeah, it is multi-line, but it's not growing. There we go. I'll adjust that. Okay, so that's kind of how the income works. All right, let's go over to defenses tab. So what this is just like an encounter record, right? So what you could do is, if I close all this out, and let's see, do I have any traps here? A trap. I have a trapper. How about oil? Did I make a boiling oil? No, I didn't. Let's say I have an oil beetle trap. All right, so I have an oil beetle trap with 5 oil beetles, right? And I already made my image, so let's go to images, and this was new stronghold. Okay, and I could change the name of this to whatever. I'm going to open this up. So the stronghold. So then I can just go here and I can, let's say it's in this corner. Probably would help if I put a grid on here, but you get the idea. Okay, and then, all right, so what's cool is I can keep going here. So we're going to call this oil beetle trap. So I can put, like, let's say I had 2 ballistas and they were located at different places, or I had a trap portcullis that closes down on your head, or just anything. I can create a separate encounter record for it. I can pre-place it on the keep where it belongs. And so if you actually did a battle on there, you can actually come in here and open these encounter records. And what it'll do is I can just add the beetles. The beetles all get put on there. Let's identify them all. And then if I go and I open my image, you can see the beetles are now placed on there, and it's all linked. Okay, so you can technically place these beetles on this map, and again, this works just like a battle map. Everyone does it, but that one caveat that might throw your players off: they have to minimize the local copy that comes out and play on this one. Okay, so so that's how defenses work. So pretty self-explanatory, right? All right, so let's go back to the other tab. We're almost done here. All right, so how Fantasy Grounds works is the GM and 1 player can own something, okay? Like, so there is a block here for the liege. So if I open up my records and I open Merrick here, I can make, he is now the Lord of the Manor, okay? So the player, Merrick, can come in here, with the exception of the image, he can change all of these values, okay? He can work on building it on himself. He can edit any of the fields that you can edit. These links don't appear for him, but he can edit the pay and the number. He can, I think I have it turned off. No, I think he can put these in there. You'll have to check that. I might have turned this off, so I left this GM only. But so Merrick can operate this. Okay. Now you'll notice there's no ability to share the record. All right, and that is because if you make something public and then you add a holder that's an owner, it just jacks it all up, okay? So how we've addressed that, because we want all the players to be able to see this, is we can have this leads and lords, or court officials and honored guests, I called it. Okay, so we can just drag them to that. Now this allows them to be shared with them, and so if I look back on the strongholds, I can see that the new stronghold, oh, it says it's public. Why does it say it's public? Let me try this again. Merrick. And, oh, because he has to be logged in. Yeah, so anyways, you'll have to trust me. I already tested it out, so, oh, I added the wrong guy. Let's go back to characters. That's Bane. We don't want Bane. We'll do George. All right, let's see what it says now. There we go. It's going to say that. It's going to say shared with, and it's going to be individually. Okay, so it should not be public. I'm going to see why these got flagged to public. It's possible that I had changed that like yesterday, so it's possible that kind of got grandfathered in. But you shouldn't be able, well, it says you can share the record. So you don't want to share the record, but you do want to drag the guys to the court officials and honored guests. And that's going to let them see this record, open it up, and look at everything. All right, so the last part of this is there's a vault. And so players, even non-owner players, as long as it's been shared with them, can drag items into there and take items away. And it took a lot of coding to do this. I even have I need to fix that. I think I put a debug in there somewhere. But it works just like the party sheet, okay? And except it says Stronghold Vault on it, okay? So this can be, obviously the owner, the GM, or whoever's the owner can come in here and set the assignment, and it works, but it works just like the party sheet, okay? So I think that's about it for this extension. Put in a whole lot of work for this. I'm probably going to list it for a couple bucks. Trying to figure out how much I'm going to list it for. What I'll probably do is actually list it for something and put it on sale so that people can get on it. For early adopters, get some kind of bonus. But thanks for watching the video, and talk to you soon.